Hey guys, and welcome to today's video. What the heck is this, you may be asking? This is going to be something very different. Is this going to be nail art? No. I am no good at painting my nails. This was very difficult for me to do, but I want to try to make my hands look okay because my hands were going to be in this video. No, today we are going to do some science because I did a review on this blush. And a lot of us seem to agree that we really liked this blush, but we did not like that it was loose. So if you've not watched this video, this is the Studio Makeup Luminous Loose Blush. I received this in a BoxyCharm subscription and I did a review on it. So I will link that review in the description bar down below. I had a wonderful viewer, Cheryl, say, if you tried pressing this blush, it would be great to make a video of it. And I thought, yes, that is what I am going to do. So let me show you all the scientific tools that I have brought to attempt to do this today. So we have our blush. I didn't really have little pans to put this into, so I thought I would press it into these little clean Tupperware containers that I have, because if you press the blush down into here, I should still be able to get a brush down into it. These are, a pretty good size. So if I try pressing a few different kinds, then we'll be able to see how they go into here. I got some isopropyl alcohol. That is the French side. Isopropyl alcohol. I've been reading a few things about how to repress shattered pressed powder products, and they say to use rubbing alcohol. The rubbing alcohol was a lower percentage of isopropyl alcohol with a higher water percentage. I decided to get this because I thought the water is going to make it take longer once I pour this in with the product to dry out again. So I thought it'd be better to get a higher amount of alcohol because alcohol dries out faster. Anyway, this is what I got for us to play with. So we have that. I have here some plastic wrap because I've heard that when you're doing the pressing here, it helps put a layer of plastic wrap down to press. I brought a mascara that has a flat bottom to it, so we can use that to press the blush down to try to get it all compacted into the container. I got a little measuring tool for measuring things out with, and then to stir this all around, I just brought a kitchen knife, and this one is actually from Canadian Airlines. Not only does Canadian Airlines not exist anymore, does anyone remember when they actually used to give out like metal utensils? I don't know where this came from because I never took a Canadian Airlines flight where I took a utensil from it. This is one of these mystery things that showed up in my kitchen. So, these are all our materials. Let's get going. I'm gonna start, I don't know, should I try to take the sifter off of here? Maybe not. I think what I'm gonna do is try to shake some of this. I'm gonna try to get a whole bunch of this out into the cap of the blush. Just really go nuts on this. I mean, part of me worries about wasting product, but I just have so many blushes, I really shouldn't worry about it. Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay. That is what's gonna happen if you do that. That is way more than I thought was gonna come out of there. Oh my. Okay. So let's start with container number 1. I thought I would try doing 2 of these, maybe with different amounts of alcohol. So this is actually a 1/4 teaspoon measurement. I guess I'm gonna need, oh no, I already got it on the table. I guess I'm gonna need a couple of those. Okay, I'm gonna do 1 more so that we get a full teaspoon. Okay, so that is a full teaspoon of product in there, and that seems to cover the bottom well. So if we press this down and it actually presses, it will be a good amount to swirl a brush into. I'm going to put an equal amount into another container because I think we might try to do this with 2 different amounts of alcohol, one where we're really saturating it, and the other where we just put enough alcohol in to hold it all together. So I'm going to repeat that with this container. We now have our 2 containers. Quite a mess, and quite a mess on here, so I'm just gonna wipe things up to keep things clean before we continue. Not loving how this actually seems to have stained my counter. So much blush. Okay, that's good. I don't think my landlord would have enjoyed a pink marble counter. So, come on, childproof caps. With our first test subject, we're going to try to add just enough alcohol to get it wet. Wow, I'm spilling that everywhere. So I'm going to start out with this 1/4 teaspoon and maybe not even all of that. So I've just used about half of what was in there. Oh, this stinks. So it's starting to pull together a little bit, but I can see I'm going to need a bit more. So when I was in high school, I was sure I was going to be a veterinarian, and I went and did a one-term co-op placement at a vet office. This smell is really reminding me of that. Okay. Wow, it really like disappears a lot when you mix in the alcohol. I'm a little concerned that we're not actually going to see if this is pressed or just sort of dried to the bottom. Okay, sometimes science is making decisions as you go. Because I want there to be enough of this pressed in the bottom to actually press it, I'm just going to put this amount in too. And we're going to add just enough alcohol, which I now know is a little less than a 1/4 teaspoon more, to make this wet. Whoops. And mix it all together. Actually, science is not changing things up as you go. It's very much sticking to the scientific method. Believe it or not, from watching this, I actually did my undergraduate degree. This still has to do with me thinking I was going to be a vet. Ooh, look, that all came together into like a nice ball. I did my undergraduate degree in science. There was still some left in there and I threw it all over the place. Biomedical science, which I do not use in my life now. So I actually did some advanced chemistry and lab classes. Okay, I actually think that looks better. It's come together into more of a ball, which makes me think it's going to be better for pressing. So from watching other people do this, they do say it's good to use some saran wrap over it. I really wish this was a lower container because I realize now how hard it's going to be to press that. Maybe what I'll do is just actually wrap the clear wrap around the end of this to press it down so that this doesn't get dirty, but I'm not trying to mess with actually pressing saran wrap down into the container. Protecting my little presser. Okay, so I guess I'm going to try to press it out flat enough to get out to the corners of it. I mean, the thing about, usually these tutorials are set up in a way where you're pressing a powder back into the container that it came in. So you don't have to worry so much about finding the right sized container. Okay, that's looking pretty flat across the bottom there. So my understanding is that we wait for the alcohol in this to dry, and then we should have, hopefully, a pressed blush. And the nice thing about doing this in a little Tupperware is if it works, I can put the container top on here and just dip a brush down, swirl it in, and use this really beautifully colored product. So we're going to pause it there for now. It is currently 3:30 in the afternoon on a Saturday, because this is what I do with my Saturdays. I think I'm going to leave this for about a little less than 24 hours, and then we will come back and see if it is dry. See you in a few hours, but in your time, it will be just a few seconds. Hey guys, it is now Monday, so it's actually been a little less than 2 days since I did this because it's now about 11 o'clock in the morning on a Monday. And look guys, it's not powder. It is holding in place. And the texture of this, and it feels the same as it did yesterday. It actually was ready about 24 hours after I did this yesterday. It feels a little on the soft side, but it's definitely pressed. And you can see as I run my finger over it, or maybe you can't, but it's bumpy because it wasn't pressed well. But if I rub my finger over it, you know, it smooths out a little bit, but it's not moving around a lot. And, you know, it still swatches quite nicely. So I thought we would do a couple of tests with this. I'm really excited with how this turned out, but I thought let's see if we have changed the integrity of the blush in any way because of changing it from a powder to a pressed powder. I have here 3 different brushes that I'm going to do some swatches with. From my original video, I have this very floppy loose one that actually applied the loose powder quite well. I'm going to try this one with both of them. I then have this brush, which is a crown brush. This one is a Luxie brush. This is the one that I actually use most often for my blush. It's sort of, it has more structure than the first one, but is still very soft and fluffy. And then the third brush I'm going to use is this Firma brush, which is more dense. It is just more tightly packed, and I'm gonna see how that works. So I'm gonna see how these do in whether they apply the blush the same, everything else. So let's get to swatching. So you can see that picks up quite a bit of powder, tapping it off a little. And does a really nice subtle application of the non-pressed powder. Oh, it still seems to have picked up a fair bit. I was worried that because we pressed it, it wasn't going to do a good job. And it actually seems to do a pretty similar application. So that's nice to see. Now we're gonna go in with my favorite crown blush brush. So this one does a little bit, like there's a little bit more of it there, although it's still quite subtle. And I got a little bit of fallout there on the counter. And swirling it into here. Ooh, I got quite a bit of fallout again. It looks like it's actually a little bit more pigmented on the press side, but that might be because I'm swirling it in a bit harder, whereas I'm more delicate going into the powder blush. You can see the fallout on my counter there. So now let's go in with this densely packed brush. I'm gonna go into the powder that's left in the lid here. And it's actually fairly subtle there. And going into the powder, I'm gonna tap that off a little bit because otherwise a lot's gonna come out. Now with this brush, it doesn't seem to be sticking very well. And I've got more fallout on the counter there. Now let's go back and look inside this and see what the brushes actually did to it. So you may or may not be able to see there's a fair bit of fallout there. And I mean, I wasn't being gentle going into this, but I mean, it still holds together pretty well. While I was complaining yesterday about the depth of this container for doing that, I actually think it works out pretty well that you can sort of tap your blush off and keep it all contained in here. It seems a nice way of keeping a powder product pressed, but then the fallout all sort of stays in one place. I was kind of expecting that this would really kick up a lot more powder in there because I'm sure in a regular pressed powder product, there are ingredients put in to sort of keep the powder together and pressed. And we don't have these in here because all we added was alcohol. Hey guys, it's the end of the video and I have an update. I was planning on sitting down and for the very last shot of this video, applying the blush and then saying that this works out really great. I guess just when I was bringing this into my room, it shattered. And I think maybe because I turned it upside down and put it down on the bed, I wasn't being overly gentle with it, but I wasn't being harsh with it either. It didn't hit against anything. So it appears that it does not hold together as well as a product that was originally meant to be pressed. So if you do decide to do this, you're gonna have to be really careful with whatever container you put it in after. You're unlikely to be able to put this into your purse or travel with it because it is going to shatter and come apart. So all this to say that you can do it, but I think that because it doesn't have the ingredients to originally be a pressed product, it is going to fall apart and shatter like this at not a lot of not being really harsh with it, which is too bad. So the jury is a little bit mixed on whether you can press powders that were not originally pressed. Because it doesn't have the ingredients in there to hold it together, it's not going to hold together very well. It may be a way of making it slightly more convenient for yourself, but it's not going to last in the long term. Unfortunately, at least not with this product in the way that I did it. If you've ever tried to press a loose powder into a pressed powder, or if there are different ways I should try doing this, please let me know. I'd be more than happy to keep experimenting, finding out for loose blushes, for loose highlights, if there's a way to press them into a more convenient product that still performs the same way as the original product. So for me, I'm just going to swirl my brush into the remnants of what's there and put on my blush for today. I hope you enjoyed this video and this time experimenting with me. If you did, please consider giving this a thumbs up. We can think of some more makeup experiments to do together. If you've not yet subscribed to my channel, please do so. I will put my face up right here so you can click on it and subscribe. And I will put one of my older videos up here so that you can continue spending some time with me and watching that. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye!